Today, we'll be picking up from where we left off in the first video about the Hashiras in Demon Slayer. In the first part, we talk about 7 of the Hashiras, and today, we'll be focusing on the remaining 6. If you haven't seen the first part, be sure to check it out because you have missed some very interesting stories. Starting today's list is the current Wind Hashira, Sanemi Shinazugawa. He's so powerful and talented that even the upper rank 1 demon Kokushibo believes that he has reached the peak of his abilities. Sanemi was the oldest out of 7 brothers. His father was an abusive man who constantly beat up his mother and his siblings. This all ended the day his father was killed by a man who hated him. One day, when Sanemi's mother didn't return home, he left his siblings at home and went out to search for her. Unfortunately, when he found her, he discovered that she had already been turned into a demon. She went back home and killed 5 of his siblings, but before she could kill the last child, Genya, Sanemi attacked her and ended up fighting her. During the fight, his mother scarred him on his face and he got the Marachi blood, which intoxicates demons. When Genya found out that Sanemi killed their mother, he berates his older brother, not knowing that their mother was a demon. Sanemi eventually turns colorblind and leaves Genya to hunt and kill demons. At this point, he isn't aware of Nichiren blades, which the demon slayers use, so he uses different types of weapons to hunt demons at night so he can kill them with sunlight during the day. Despite having no training, Sanemi survives and succeeds in his quests, thanks to his unique blood, which leaves demons disoriented. Later, Sanemi meets a demon slayer who invites him into the corpse and get him trained. Unfortunately, after their battle with the lower rank 1 demon, his friend is killed and Sanemi is promoted to the rank of the Wind Hashira. When Sanemi is introduced to Tanjiro and his sister for the first time, his hatred for demons pushes him to attack Nezuko, even after Kaguya tells him that he's accepted the Kamado siblings. He plans to prove the master wrong by showing him that all demons are the same. Sanemi cuts himself and stabs Nezuko several times, hoping that the aroma of his blood would make her want to feed on him. However, she manages to fight the urge, leaving Sanemi very surprised that a demon can withstand the temptation of his blood. In the Infinity Castle arc, Sanemi rescues Genya from Kokushibo. He tells his younger brother that he shouldn't have joined the Demon Slayer corps and instead should have had a family. Sanemi finally awakens his Demon Slayer mark during his battle with the upper rank 1 demon. He gets severely wounded but continues fighting, and thanks to Gyomei and Muichiro, he manages to get in some decent hits. Next on the list is Gyomei Himejima, the current Stone Hashira. He's so strong that even Tanjiro and Inosuke consider him the strongest demon slayer in the corps. Kokushibo further supported the notion when he stated that Gyomei's physical abilities have been trained to the pinnacle, also stating he hasn't faced someone like Gyomei in the last 300 years. Gyomei lived in a temple where he raised 9 orphans before becoming a Hashira. Because the area was prone to demon attacks, Gyomei always burned wisteria incense at night to ward off demons. Unfortunately, one night, one of the children disobeyed his temple rules by going past the places he was allowed to. He is immediately confronted by a demon, so he sells out Gyomei and the other children to save himself. At night, the child leads the demon to the temple and allows him to enter to kill the other children. 4 children are killed immediately and the rest run away to escape, ignoring Gyomei, who appears helpless because of his blindness. Eventually, only the youngest child named Sayo survives, and Gyomei somehow manages to kill the demon with his unbelievable strength despite being blind. Afterward, people arrived at the temple and assumed that Gyomei killed the children so that he was arrested. Before he can be executed, Kaguya intervenes and saves him before recruiting him into the Demon Slayer corps. Despite being blind, Gyomei only takes 2 months before rising to the rank of the Stone Hashira. When the Ubuyashiki mansion is destroyed, Gyomei helps Tamayo decapitate Muzan after she manages to poison him. Muzan's head regenerates and he attacks Gyomei, but he defends himself with his stone breathing. After being transported into the Infinity Castle, Gyomei manages to defeat Kokushibo. Afterward, he saves Tanjiro and Mitsuri from Muzan's finishing blow. Gyomei eventually dies at the hands of Muzan, but thanks to his sacrifice, the other Hashiras managed to defeat the Demon King for good. Third on today's list is Tengen Uzui, the current Sound Hashira. Tengen is physically the strongest Hashira without a doubt, and he's also considered the fast runner among all the Hashiras. Tengen was born into the shinobi clan and had 8 siblings. Unfortunately, they were subjected to intense training, which led to 3 of his siblings dying before they got to age 10. However, the training didn't stop, and by the time Tengen was 15 years old, 5 more of his siblings had died, and it was only him and his younger brother. When Tengen finds out that their father's intense training has turned his brother into a ruthless and heartless killer, he decides to leave the clan. Tengen takes his wives and currently leaves the clan to start a new life with his family. Afterward, he searches for Kagaya Ubuyashiki, hoping to join the Demon Slayer Corps. After joining them, Tengen uses his incredible strength and talent to grow high until he is recognized as the Sound Hashira. When Tengen finally meets Tanjiro and Nezuko for the first time, he stated how he hates the idea of a demon slayer traveling with a demon. During the events of the Entertainment District arc, Tengen was a major character. Tengen went into the Butterfly Mansion to kidnap Naho and Aoi to help him with his mission, but when Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke confront him, he surrenders the girls and is forced to take the boys along on his mission. Along the way, he informs the boys that they'll be investigating the disappearance of his wives in the Entertainment District and send each of them to one of the 3 brothels to search for the women. On getting to the place, Tengen disguises the boys as girls before dropping them at each brothel. Soon, they finally found out that the demon they are after is Daki, so Tengen tries to kill her when Gyutaro is around. And a fierce battle ensues between the demons and the Hashiras. Gyutaro poisons Tengen during the fight, but he still manages to fight them off until he and the other Hashiras manage to defeat the 2 demons. By the end of the fight, Tengen loses his left eye and arm. Even worse, the poison has spread all over his body. But just when he feels like he's about to die, Nezuko arrives and burns out the poison using her blood demon art to save him. Afterward, Tengen retires from the Demon Slayer Corps as a result of his severe injuries. The next Hashira we'll be looking at is Sakonji Urokodaki. Sakonji used to be the Water Hashira before he retired from the Demon Slayer Corps and was a main developer of the different water-breathing styles. He trained the likes of Tanjiro, Giyu, Sabito, and Makomo. In the first part, we mentioned how Giyu sent Sakonji a letter after his encounter with Tanjiro and Nezuko. Well, when Sakonji received this letter, which was a request to train Tanjiro, Sakonji left his house to find the young boy and his demonized sister. When he finally found them, he met Tanjiro trying to kill a demon with the wrong kind of weapon, so he stopped him to let him know the weapon wouldn't help him kill the demon. Sakonji concludes that Tanjiro has no future as a demon slayer after watching him reluctantly make pathetic attempts to kill the demon. Regardless, he gives Tanjiro a shot and decides to test him to find out if he is Demon Slayer material. When Tanjiro arrives at Sakonji's house, the latter informs him that his test has already begun. Sakonji takes Tanjiro up the dark misty mountain forest and leaves him there, telling him he must make it back to his house before dawn. Tanjiro passes the test and Sakonji begins training him to improve his swordsmanship. After a year of training, Sakonji gives him a test to prove he's ready for the final selection. He tells Tanjiro to cut a huge boulder in half with a strike of his sword. Eventually, Tanjiro passes the test and Sakonji commends him before letting him go on the next stage of becoming a demon slayer. After Tanjiro joins the demon slayers and Nezuko's demon nature is discovered, Sakonji sends a message to Kagaya asking that he forgive Tanjiro for keeping a demon and explains the situation to him. Next on the list is Shinjoro Rengoku, the former Flame Hashira and the father of the current Flame Hashira, Kyojuro Rengoku. Shinjuro wasn't the best father as known in the manga when Kyojuro died, and Shinjuro called him a worthless son. However, it's important to note that he wasn't always the abusive father he later became. When he first joined the Demon Slayers, he was filled with enthusiasm and raised his children with love until a series of tragedies changed him. The first one was the death of his wife after she fell ill. The second one would be the fact that he developed an inferiority complex because of his pessimistic view of the world. Shinjoro believed that the strongest breathing style was sun breathing, so this made him believe that he was not talented enough, and that made his life more miserable. Despite being so powerful, he dwelt on the fact that he didn't have sun breathing, and this made him an unhappy person overall. Although all of these are red flags, Shinjoro isn't as heartless as he may seem. Sure, he said a lot of cruel things about his dead son, but when he was alone, he cried out, mourning the loss, and it can be presumed that he only discouraged Kyojuro from becoming a Hashira because he wanted him to be safe. Eventually, Shinjoro takes back control of his life. After Kyojuro's death, Shinjoro stops drinking as much as he used to and even vows to sacrifice his life if he has to, so he doesn't disgrace his family. In the end, it's nice to see that even in death, Kyojuro managed to inspire his alcoholic and abusive father to be a better man. The last Hashira we'll be talking about is Jigoro Kuwajima. He was the former Thunder Hashira who taught Zenitsu and Kaigaku. Despite getting very old, Jigoro was still an exceptional demon slayer. Jigoro has gathered so much knowledge over the years which he passed down to his students. His student, Kaigaku, managed to master all the thunder breathing forms apart from the first one, while the other student, Zenitsu, only mastered the first breathing form because he didn't have enough experience. Jigoro later killed himself after Kaigaku left the Demon Slayers to become a demon. After Zenitsu battles Kaigaku and kills him, Zenitsu meets Jigoro in the afterlife and apologizes to his master for not being able to settle his differences with Kaigaku. With tears in his eyes, Jigoro admits to Zenitsu that he is his pride, and shortly after, Zenitsu is forcefully brought back to life, leaving his master behind. That's all for this video, and we hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe so you can see more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.